Hi everyone. So recently I've been working on a multiplayer lobbying system. I've written one already before, but it wasn't as comprehensive as this current one is now. It's very easy to use. All you do is you instantiate a matchmaker class, and currently this isn't really a matchmaker because it doesn't have any of the logic that deals with connection and so on, but this gives you a list of access to servers. So when you've instantiated that class, use that as a handle to read and create your own server and register it to that matchmaker, and then also to remove it when necessary. Now, immediately you may notice one flaw. You can actually remove a server by providing the ID and calling the function. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. Yes, if you call a function with an ID, it will delete that server. Now, this is inherently insecure because you could provide the ID of another server. However, the damage is very minimal. All you can do is either edit or delete the actual server itself. To overcome this, all one would need to do is make sure that on the code on the server, you return a special ID that is very difficult to guess, and then also remove the IDs from the read server logic, which again I'll do in my next update. So in this example, if I run it, first I'm going to add some more blank lines so everyone can see what's going on. You'll see we have the words test, then an empty list. Then it says we've created a server and we're given the ID of 65 by the server, and then we create an address, a map, a player, a name, a last updated time in seconds since the start of the world, I think, or something, since the start of something, port, ID, max players. Definitely not since the start of the world, but a certain time anyway. And what we have here is this thing in the brackets is actually the read server code, just telling us the current number of servers. So we're using that to find out what the logic does when we run register server. So currently this is flexible for this extreme, but if you want to add the ability to add more data that can be sent to the lobbying system or remove data, you have to then edit the matchmaker PHP file, which is here. And all that does is it includes the connection code, and it has some helper logic up here. And then we look at all the different arguments we might need. So we check if it's a host by looking for an argument is server, and if it doesn't exist, if it doesn't have a value, as long as it's in the arguments list, that's fine. You can also run post instead of get calls to set these values. We also look for this if we give a special ID of delete ID or update ID. We make sure that we have all of the correct arguments for hosting a server or updating the hosted server, and then every time that someone opens this file, we update all the server lists to make sure we don't have any old servers still registered. They all time out after 3,600 seconds, which is 60 minutes. So in is host, which is what runs if you're a host. We basically register all the stuff, and if we also have an update ID, then we update instead of registering, we update the data. Likewise, if you're not a host, then it'll simply return all of the host's JSON data. Okay, it's very easy to use. In this authentication class, which I'm not going to show you, there is all of my data used for connecting to the system, and in the connection logic, we give it the authentication instance, and it'll use that to connect to your table and register all the data as follows. And all of these methods here simply will run the logic as necessary. In Matchmaker, that's where the actual connection logic is used. So the connection logic is more of an interface to the database, and the Matchmaker does something with that interface. Now it's going to be useful to look at what it does in the web interface. And if you look at the web interface, you'll see that actually it is very logical. If you just open the file, you'll see that we're given the current list of servers, which isn't populated at the moment because that one timed out, and this one here, number 65, is deleted in the example on purpose. We can, however, create an example, and what we do is I've got lots of previous calls here. I'm going to create a server with the name test server, the map called suburban, the maximum number of players being 5 and 12 players in total, and that returns the ID of my server on this system. If I go back and then refresh, we'll now have an ID with 66, the name's test server, the map suburban, the port 1200, player 0, max players 5, and address and last updated. Now what I can do, if you look at the last updated figure, if I run the same code but add an and update ID equals 48 at the end, sorry, that's wrong, because my ID was 66. run the same thing, and update ID equals 66, you'll see, if you go back and refresh, or at least you should see, hold on, if I go back now and refresh, the time that updated is, the last updated time is now changed. I also made it add 1 player, so the now number of players is 1. So this is going to be useful for my example. I'm trying to push forward and get an example game out with my multiplayer system so that people can look at it and tinker, and just for my own benefit, really. So that's going to be part of that very soon, and thank you for watching, and I'll keep you posted.